Hey King,
What's up?
I love you.
Oh, you do now? And you just applications, ain't it?
No application. You the best thing that's ever happened to me. There's no grills in your mouth. You can't do that. Your teeth is white though.
It is? No.
I said I love you.
I love you too, baby.
She stood among the search party, eyes scanning the horizon, calling out his name with desperation in her voice. Taylor Wardlaw's social media was flooded with pleas for help finding her missing boyfriend, Terrell Sims. "If anyone has seen or heard from my boyfriend, please contact me. It's been 48 hours. I want straight info, period," she posted frantically. But as the December cold settled over Columbia, South Carolina, Taylor harbored a dark secret. She knew exactly where Terrell was. She knew because she put him there. Welcome to Shadows of Crime. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button now because today's case exposes one of the most shocking betrayals we've ever covered. What drives a woman to murder the father of her child, then pretend to search for him? What kind of person organizes search parties with family members, knowing they're looking for a body she helped hide? And, perhaps most disturbing of all, how could she do this with her new lover by her side? The story of Terrell Sims' murder isn't just about a relationship gone wrong. It's about a calculated deception that fooled an entire community. A woman who shot her boyfriend multiple times, then hours later walked into a pawn shop to sell his jewelry while his body lay hidden near a creek. As Columbia Police Sergeant Jessica Nowlin put it, "I think it's really crazy how she killed him, disposed of him, and then helped everybody look for his body. That's just next-level evil." But evil often hides behind a mask of concern. For 2 weeks, Taylor Wardlaw played the role of grieving girlfriend perfectly. She cried, she posted, she searched. All while knowing the truth. The ankle monitor that was supposed to keep Terrell in check had been cut off and tossed away. The rental car trunk still held traces of his blood, and a bullet hole in the hood told a story that Taylor desperately tried to hide. What you're about to hear isn't just a murder case. It's a masterclass in manipulation that nearly worked, until one friend couldn't keep the secret anymore and came forward with 4 chilling words. "I did it. I killed Terrell." But why? What pushed this mother to murder? And how did she convince another man to help cover it up? The answers reveal a twisted web of jealousy, control, and betrayal that no one saw coming. Terrell Sims wasn't just another statistic in a crime report. At 26, the Columbia, South Carolina native was a young man with dreams that extended far beyond his circumstances. A father of 4 children, Terrell approached parenthood with a dedication that left an impression on everyone who knew him. He was a very happy, loving, caring person. He had such a sweet personality, recalled his twin sister Marcella Sims Jacobs, her voice still carrying the weight of her loss. Music flowed through Terrell's veins. As an aspiring rapper, he channeled his experiences and emotions into lyrics, creating an artistic outlet that showcased his creative ambitions. But unlike the stereotypical image of a struggling artist, Terrell's first priority remained unwavering: his children. The holiday season of 2021 should have been filled with joy. Terrell had been making plans, mapping out Christmas shopping trips and activities to create lasting memories with his kids. He wasn't content with just being present. He wanted to build a legacy of love and connection that would shape their futures. His older sister Rose and twin Marcella spoke often about Terrell's positive outlook, how despite the challenges he faced, he maintained an optimistic perspective that influenced those around him. Family gatherings became brighter when he arrived, his energy infectious as he worked to keep family bonds strong even through difficult periods. He had plans for his children, Marcel would later tell investigators, the simple statement carrying the weight of all that was lost. What made Terrell stand out wasn't flashy displays of affection, but consistent acts of generosity. He gave what he had, whether material possessions or simply his time and attention. This generosity extended beyond his immediate family to friends and acquaintances who needed support. But as Terrell focused on building his future and caring for his children in December 2021, a shadow loomed over him that he couldn't see. The very person who should have been his partner in raising their child was harboring thoughts that would lead to his destruction. The contrast is jarring. A young father planning Christmas presents for his children while his girlfriend plotted his death. A man working toward musical aspirations while the mother of his youngest child contemplated silencing him forever. A brother whose sisters adored him, unaware that they would soon be organizing his funeral rather than celebrating holidays with him. The ankle monitor on Terrell's leg, a consequence of earlier legal troubles, was supposed to track his movements. Instead, it would become a discarded piece of evidence, tossed aside on Monticello Road, its final ping a digital epitaph, marking the beginning of the end. No one could have predicted that the man who brought so much joy to his family would soon become the subject of a missing person report, then a homicide investigation, and finally a cautionary tale about trust and betrayal in its most extreme form. When Taylor Wardlaw and Terrell Sims first crossed paths in 2018, there was nothing to suggest their relationship would end in bloodshed. They moved in together quickly, establishing a shared life that, from the outside, might have appeared normal. But those closest to the couple witnessed a different reality unfolding behind closed doors. Taylor would do different things as far as tracking and monitoring his calls, Marcella Jacobs revealed. She would do a lot of stuff to keep tabs on him. He couldn't do anything without her knowing it. This surveillance wasn't occasional or casual. It was systematic. Taylor's need for control manifested in constant monitoring of Terrell's whereabouts, communications, and social interactions. Their relationship wasn't built on trust, but on Taylor's compulsion to maintain dominance over every aspect of Terrell's life. Friends described the relationship as chaotic, a word that barely captured the volatile dynamic between them. Arguments erupted frequently, their intensity escalating over time. Yet they remained together, even as the relationship grew increasingly toxic. The situation reached a breaking point in 2020. Taylor was 9 months pregnant with their child when she contacted police with a shocking allegation. She relayed to them that he had put a gun to her 9-month pregnant belly and threatened her life. Prosecutor Catherine Cavanaugh would later explain. This accusation changed everything. Terrell was arrested and charged with domestic violence, his freedom stripped away at what should have been one of the most significant moments of his life. As he sat in a jail cell, Taylor gave birth to their child, a milestone Terrell missed entirely. For nearly a year, Terrell remained incarcerated, separated from his newborn and his other children. It wasn't until August 2021 that he finally secured his release, ironically with Taylor posting his bail. But freedom came with strict conditions: a tracking monitor secured to his ankle, and a no-contact order forbidding any interaction with Taylor. There was a strict no-contact provision in his bond, so he was not supposed to be in contact with her. Certainly not living with her, Cavanaugh emphasized. Yet despite these legal barriers, or perhaps in defiance of them, Taylor and Terrell rekindled their relationship. He moved back into their shared home, violating court orders that were designed to keep them apart. The ankle monitor on his leg served as a constant reminder of the legal jeopardy this reunion created. By December 2021, they were living together again with their young child, presenting themselves as a family despite the court's prohibition. To outsiders, it might have appeared that they were working through their issues, committed to making their relationship function for the sake of their child. But beneath this facade of reconciliation, something far more sinister was developing. While Terrell focused on rebuilding his life after incarceration, Taylor was cultivating a separate relationship with a man named Eddie Youngster Brown. What was really happening in the final days of their relationship? Was Taylor's surveillance of Terrell driven by jealousy while she herself pursued another man? How could she maintain the pretense of reconciliation while planning something so unthinkable? As December 20th approached, the true nature of their relationship was about to reveal itself in the most devastating way possible, and only one of them would live to tell the tale. On December 20, 2021, Terrell Sims vanished. For 48 hours, there was no word from the 26-year-old father, no calls to his sisters, no check-ins with his children. This silence was profoundly out of character for a man who maintained close connections with his family. By December 22nd, Taylor Wardlaw appeared before Columbia police officers, visibly distressed as she filed a missing person report. Her story seemed straightforward. Terrell had left their home 2 days earlier and simply never returned. No warning, no explanation, just gone. "If anyone has seen or heard from my boyfriend, please contact me," Taylor posted frantically on Facebook, her digital plea punctuated with multiple exclamation points. "It's been 48 hours. I want straight info, period." The post spread quickly through their community. Taylor didn't stop there. She organized search parties coordinating with Terrell's twin sister Marcella and other family members to comb through areas where he might be found. She appeared devastated, a woman desperate to find the father of her child. "She was out there with us, looking for him," Marcella would later recall, the memory now tainted with bitter understanding. "She was crying, acting like she was so worried." As days passed, Taylor maintained her public campaign to find Terrell. She posted updates, shared missing person flyers, and kept in regular contact with his increasingly worried family. But beneath this performance of concern, small inconsistencies began to emerge. Police noticed Taylor's story contained subtle contradictions. Details shifted slightly with each retelling: the time Terrell left, what he was wearing, his state of mind before disappearing. These discrepancies were minor enough to be attributed to stress, but they caught investigators' attention. Then came a critical revelation. The monitoring company responsible for Terrell's ankle bracelet had already contacted his family on December 21st, reporting that his device had been tampered with. Its last ping came from near Monticello Road, information that would later prove devastatingly significant. But what was actually happening while Taylor organized search parties and posted desperate pleas online? The truth was far more sinister than anyone imagined. While Taylor stood among family members calling Terrell's name, his body lay hidden near a creek off Monticello Road. While she cried with his sisters, she knew exactly why he wouldn't be coming home. And perhaps most disturbing, while she coordinated search efforts, she had already visited a pawn shop to sell Terrell's jewelry. If you're following this case and haven't subscribed yet, now's the moment to hit that button. The deception you've heard so far is just the beginning of a story that reveals how far someone will go to maintain a facade while hiding unimaginable actions. The ankle monitor that should have been tracking Terrell's movements had been deliberately cut off. The rental car that Taylor had been driving still contained traces of evidence that would later prove crucial. And a bullet hole in the hood told a story that contradicted everything Taylor had been telling police and family. As Christmas approached, Terrell's family held on to hope that he would be found alive. They couldn't have known that Taylor Wardlaw was orchestrating not just a search, but one of the most calculated cover-ups Columbia police had ever encountered. For 2 weeks, the search for Terrell Sims continued without results. His family grew increasingly desperate, while Taylor Wardlaw maintained her public persona of the worried girlfriend. But on January 5, 2022, everything changed when a friend of Taylor's walked into the Columbia Police Department with information that would shatter the carefully constructed narrative. "I need to tell you something," the friend told detectives. "Taylor confessed to me. She said, 'I did it. I killed Terrell.'" This bombshell confession opened the floodgates. According to the friend, Taylor had revealed chilling details about what really happened on December 20th. She described how she had lured Terrell into a rental car, claiming they needed to run errands together. Once inside the vehicle, an argument erupted, one that Taylor had likely orchestrated. She told me she shot him multiple times while they were in the car, the friend recounted to stunned investigators. She said she wasn't alone. Eddie Brown was with her, and they disposed of the body together. With this new information, police immediately shifted their approach from a missing person case to a homicide investigation. They focused their search efforts on Monticello Road, where the ankle monitor's last signal had been detected. Within hours, officers located the discarded monitoring device, deliberately cut and tossed aside physical evidence corroborating the friend's account. The rental car Taylor had been driving became a crucial piece of evidence. Although she had returned it to the rental agency, forensic technicians discovered blood traces in the trunk, despite obvious cleaning attempts. More damning still was a bullet hole in the hood, physical proof of gunfire that aligned perfectly with the confession details. The evidence suggests she shot him while he was in the passenger seat, explained one of the Columbia police investigators. The bullet traveled through his body and exited through the hood of the car. Perhaps most disturbing was what Taylor did immediately after the murder. Security footage from a local pawn shop showed her entering the establishment just hours after Terrell's death. She wasn't there in distress or seeking help. She was there to sell Terrell's distinctive mouth grill, a piece of jewelry he was known for wearing. She pawned his personal items while his body wasn't even cold yet. Prosecutor Kavanaugh would later tell the court, the disgust evident in her voice. As investigators pieced together the timeline, they discovered Taylor had been methodical. After the shooting, she and Eddie Brown transported Terrell's body to a secluded area near a creek off Monticello Road. They attempted to conceal the evidence, cleaning the rental car and disposing of the ankle monitor. Then, with calculated precision, Taylor began constructing her cover story, reporting Terrell missing and organizing search parties. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. As police dug deeper into Taylor's life, they uncovered a reality that even Terrell's closest family members hadn't known. Taylor Wardlaw had been living a double life. While maintaining her relationship with Terrell, the father of her child and the man she was legally prohibited from contacting, Taylor had simultaneously developed a romantic relationship with Eddie Youngster Brown. This wasn't a casual affair or a recent development. Evidence suggested it had been ongoing for months. She was essentially maintaining two separate relationships, explained one of the detectives on the case. And Brown was fully aware of Terrell, even participating in the murder and cover-up. Text messages recovered from Taylor's phone revealed intimate exchanges with Brown during the same period she was supposedly reconciling with Terrell. In some messages, they discussed their frustration with Terrell's presence in Taylor's life. In others, they shared what could only be described as plans for a future together, a future that it seemed had no room for Terrell Sims. The investigation had uncovered not just a murder, but a calculated elimination of an obstacle in Taylor's complicated romantic life. The woman who had stood among search parties calling Terrell's name had orchestrated his death with her lover, then returned home to care for the child she shared with the man she had just killed. As Columbia Police Sergeant Jessica Nowlin put it, "I think it's really crazy how she killed him, disposed of him, and then helped everybody look for his body. That's just next-level evil." On January 5, 2022, as Taylor's friend was revealing her confession to police, investigators were finally led to the location they had been searching for. In a wooded area near a creek off Monticello Road, partially concealed beneath brush and debris, they discovered Terrell Sims' body. After 16 days of exposure to the elements, the grim discovery confirmed what the evidence had already suggested. Terrell had been murdered. The autopsy findings painted a brutal picture of his final moments. Medical examiners documented multiple gunshot wounds to his body, with the fatal shot entering through his chest. The trajectory of the bullets aligned perfectly with the scenario described in Taylor's confession and the physical evidence found in the rental car. Terrell had been shot while sitting in the passenger seat, likely unaware of what was about to happen until the final moments. The manner of death was homicide by multiple gunshot wounds, the medical examiner's report stated clinically, unable to capture the betrayal that preceded those fatal shots. As investigators pieced together cell phone records, a damning timeline emerged. On December 20th, the day of the murder, Taylor's phone and Eddie Brown's phone pinged from the same locations. Throughout the day, first at Taylor's residence, then along the route to Monticello Road, and finally returning to her home. These digital breadcrumbs traced their movements as they carried out the murder and disposed of Terrell's body. Indeed, Taylor's behavior following the murder reveals a psychological profile that few could comprehend. Most killers attempt to distance themselves from their crimes, but Taylor did the opposite, inserting herself directly into the search efforts, maintaining close contact with Terrell's family, and positioning herself as the person most affected by his disappearance. The betrayal extended beyond Terrell himself to encompass his entire family. Taylor had been welcomed into their lives as the mother of Terrell's child, treated as family despite the troubled history. She exploited this trust completely, using their concern and love for Terrell to bolster her cover story while simultaneously planning her future with Eddie Brown. For Terrell's sisters, this betrayal created a wound that would never fully heal. Not only had they lost their brother, but they had been manipulated by the very person responsible for his death. The memory of searching alongside Taylor, of comforting her, of sharing in what they believed was mutual grief, these moments were now poisoned by the truth. As the case against Taylor Wardlaw solidified, investigators turned their attention to Eddie Youngster Brown. His role in Terrell's murder couldn't be overlooked. Cell phone records placed him at every critical location, and Taylor's confession implicated him directly in both the killing and the disposal of Terrell's body.
All new tonight, Columbia police arrested a second person in connection with the death of a man who hadn't been seen since the week of Christmas. Eddie Brown has been charged with accessory after the fact in connection with the murder of Terrell Sims. Police say that Sims's girlfriend, Taylor Wardlaw, shot and killed him. She reported Sims missing from a home on Irvin Street on December 22nd. Investigators found Sims's body near a creek off Monticello Road earlier this month. Wardlaw has been charged with murder and possession of a firearm during a violent crime.
For Terrell's family, justice would need to address both perpetrators. Brown was arrested and charged as an accessory after the fact to murder. The evidence suggested that while Taylor had pulled the trigger, Brown had been an active participant in concealing the crime and disposing of evidence. His case moved through the legal system separately from Taylor's, creating a complex web of proceedings that Terrell's family would have to navigate while still processing their grief. In April 2022, facing overwhelming evidence, Taylor Wardlaw accepted a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter, a charge reduced from the initial murder indictment.
Tonight in Richland County, where a murder trial ends before it ever begins. 31-year-old Taylor Wardlaw pled guilty to killing her boyfriend, 26-year-old Terrell Sims, in December of 2021.
News 19's Cassidy Byer was in court today. She's joining us now with the details.
I felt she should have got more.
On what was supposed to be the first day of trial, 31-year-old Taylor Wardlaw changed her mind, and after being led into the courtroom in shackles, she pleaded guilty to killing her boyfriend, 26-year-old Terrell Sims.
The plea agreement resulted in a 20-year prison sentence, significantly less than the potential life sentence a murder conviction might have carried. The earliest she could be released would be after serving 85% of her sentence. Prosecutor Kavanaugh explained to the family. That means she could potentially be free in about 17 years. For Terrell's sisters, this outcome brought mixed emotions. There was relief that Taylor had admitted her guilt, sparing them the trauma of a trial where they would have to relive their brother's final moments through evidence and testimony. But there was also a lingering sense that the punishment didn't match the calculated nature of the crime. How do you measure justice for something like this?
Rose Sims is his sister.
I wish she would have got life, to tell you the truth, about what she did. They still be asking where their daddy is. And it's kind of hard to sit down and explain to them your daddy's gone. You could tell them that all you want, but for a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old, they're not going to understand.
On December 22nd of 2021, Wardlaw reported her boyfriend missing to the police. His body was found in a bag near a creek off of Monticello Road.
My brother was trying to leave her. He didn't want to be with her anymore, and she just couldn't accept it.
Wardlaw was able to avoid the trial by taking a plea and pleading guilty to first-degree murder and possession of a firearm during a violent crime.
I felt like all the evidence that they had and everything they did, everything they said that she did, 20 years is not enough.
Although it was not the outcome Rose desired, she says she will try to forgive.
Nobody's perfect, and I'm not saying that she was a bad person, because, you know, she really wasn't, but it's what she did. It's what she done. It was the after fact, what she did with my brother's body or what he did to him. And then try to lie, you know, tell different lies that was not true.
Yet in the aftermath of the sentencing, she spoke about the complex process of moving forward. This perspective offered a glimpse into the ongoing healing process for the family. Not a neat resolution, but a messy, painful journey toward finding meaning in senseless tragedy. While Taylor Wardlaw serves her sentence, Terrell's sisters have committed themselves to raising awareness about domestic violence and supporting his children. They established a small foundation in Terrell's name, focusing on providing resources for children who have lost parents to violence. Through this work, they hope to transform their grief into something that might prevent other families from experiencing similar pain. The story of Terrell Sims' murder isn't just a true crime narrative. It's a stark warning about the dangers that can hide within toxic relationships. As we've traced the events from Taylor and Terrell's troubled beginning to its tragic end, certain warning signs emerge that, in retrospect, flash bright red. Taylor's controlling behavior, monitoring Terrell's calls, tracking his movements, and maintaining constant surveillance represented classic signs of an unhealthy relationship dynamic. These weren't expressions of love or concern, but manifestations of a desire for dominance and control that eventually escalated to the ultimate act of control, taking his life. The legal system's role in this tragedy cannot be overlooked. The no-contact order issued after Terrell's release from jail was meant to create separation and safety. Instead, it became a paper barrier, easily ignored by both parties. When protective orders aren't strictly enforced, they can create a false sense of security while doing little to prevent further harm. Community vigilance might have made a difference in Terrell's case. Friends and family witnessed the toxic patterns in his relationship with Taylor but may not have recognized them as potential precursors to violence. Education about relationship red flags, controlling behavior, isolation tactics, extreme jealousy could help communities identify dangerous situations before they turn deadly. The ripple effects of this murder continue to spread outward. 4 children will grow up without their father. 2 sisters have lost their brother. Parents have buried their son, and a community has been reminded of how quickly violence can erupt, even among people they thought they knew. For Terrell's children, the impact is particularly profound. They face the dual trauma of losing their father and processing the knowledge that he was taken by someone who should have cared for him. The psychological effects of such a loss can echo through generations, if not addressed with proper support and counseling. As we conclude this examination of Terrell Sims' life and death, I want to ask you, what relationship warning signs have you witnessed, either in your own life or in the lives of those around you? How might recognizing these signs earlier help prevent similar tragedies? The most powerful tribute we can offer to Terrell's memory is to learn from what happened to him. By educating ourselves about the warning signs of potentially violent relationships, by taking protective orders seriously, and by being willing to speak up when we see concerning patterns, we create communities where such calculated betrayals become harder to execute. Terrell Sims should be alive today, making music, raising his children, celebrating holidays with his sisters. His absence is a reminder that relationship violence doesn't always announce itself with dramatic public incidents. Sometimes it hides behind social media posts, search parties, and tears that mask the darkest intentions. By sharing his story, we hope to prevent another family from experiencing the same devastating loss.